Welcome back to my channel, Living and Investing in Bryan-College. And today we have Jordan, the mortgage chef, with me today. And we're going to jump straight in. We have a lot of people who reach out to us. And I'm going to start with my first time home buyers. And we're going to go to relocating. And then we're going to go to talk about people who maybe are not in a great position and
Okay.
what we can do to help. So oftentimes, what me and my team like to do, we like to have intro calls. Intro calls allow me to understand, are you a first time home buyer? Are
Yeah.
you relocating here? Or are you someone who have some challenges and you need help and assistance in that? So the first time home buyers, what I always ask is if you're renting, that's fine. If you are young, you don't know what to do, but or maybe you've lived some life and you're like, it's time for me to purchase my first home. Uh, First time home buyer programs, incentives. Jordan, could you give me maybe just your thoughts uh, as an experienced mortgage lender who's done several deals on how to assist those people when we go in and talk to them, eventually when we get from the intro call and then we do our discovery call?
Yeah. Well, I think the intro call is super, super important. It allows you to get to understand your client and allows you to understand how to necessarily help them.
Yep.
And then we get them on the next consultation and we kind of go, okay, this is where you are. Where do we need to place you?
Mhm.
Is it a first time home buyer? Are you, like you said, relocating?
Mhm.
Or do we have challenges? For first time home buyers, it's really, really good for just to build a game plan. See, okay, this is where I am right now, financially, credit, and then we basically take them and build out this whole game plan for them. This is where you are, this is where you want to be. What are the steps that are going to take to get you in there? And for first time homebuyers, there's great programs. Like you can go conventional with a 3% down. So kind of a lower cash to get into a deal. And if you're kind of cash sensitive, because you're a first time home buyer, you haven't spent the time to save the money, you can get down payment assistance and get into a home now rather than, let's say, it takes a year for you to afford the 3%.
Right.
You can get in now, generate some equity, generate some wealth, right?
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's really great for first-time home buyers. So when we're educating them, we're just
Mhm.
going to take them from A to Z and see what do we really need to do to make this dream come true.
Yep. That's good. So one of the things that Jordan hit on as a first time home buyer is in that intro call, what we do and what I'm very proud of is helping people start to build a legacy. Sometimes that's we focus on the investment as well, but sometimes it's your first home because it takes a lot of mental blocks and mental barriers to be able to get to the point to even believe you can not only buy a home, but that is actually is possible and people want to help you. So for first time home buyers, what I've seen is a lot of different programs, and you see a lot of videos where people don't go in deep diving on what does that mean for you specifically. And even with information out there, sometimes you still have questions
Yeah.
as a first time home buyer, as in, well, how does this pertain to me? Because your file can be very light, your file can have some things that need correcting. And after our intro call, when I understand and establish, then that's when we get to that discovery call with me, you, and your family, and Jordan, because from there we are wanting to figure out, okay, where are you at and how can we get you qualified for the best scenario? And oftentimes for a first time home buyer, even if you're not in the position, we can help you get to that. So it's a couple of different programs, and I think it's going to relate to all, but I do want to shift to the relocate,
Okay.
and then we can talk a little bit about certain programs that work. There's a program that I believe you have where if someone is relocating from a metropolitan
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
especially in Texas, that they have certain incentives that's going to allow them to use that towards, I don't know, is it towards their down payment, or closing costs, or it's a
Let
combination
me
of
rip
all?
it off.
Go for it.
So let's say we live in Houston,
Houston, yes.
Austin,
Mhm.
Dallas,
Yep. Yep.
Fort Worth,
There you go.
any of those big,
That's
big
the
metro.
triangle
Yeah,
between where Brazos Valley is at. So, Bryan College Station is literally you got Houston, Dallas, and also go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So let's say we're living there, but we got a job. We need to relocate.
Yep.
Or B, we just want to get out of the big city and want to go be somewhere smaller. Then if you're living in some of these pockets, it depends on what your current address is. It's okay if you're renting there, or it's okay if you're living with your parents. As long as that current address is in that pocket in those metropolitan areas and you're relocating, you can relocate anywhere in the state of Texas.
Right.
And you're allowed to get a $5,000 grant, which can help lower your down payment,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That's a
Yeah,
lot of money.
it's a lot of money.
Or if you have the down payment but you don't have the closing costs, then boom, 5 grand towards your closing costs. Then it will give you a $500 appraisal credit, which appraisals, it kind of ranges,
Right.
but that's still a good pocket change. And then you can get a $500 towards a home warranty program. So home warranty to make sure that, everything inside your home, in case something happens,
Right.
you got it covered.
Right.
Which that's a big, big mind block for a lot of home buyers that are renting. They're kind of scared about the maintenance. So that can really, really help somebody with being able to cover that. So that's a really good program. There are some rules and steps that we have to look into. So that's why get with us.
Yep.
See if you qualify for it. You may or may not. And if you don't, we'll probably have another product that we can shift you to.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a great, great for relocators, especially in the state of Texas.
And one thing I want to hit on is even if you're someone who's relocating here, and sometimes moving, it's a big cost,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Relocating, we move from one state to another, and to be honest with you, sometimes funds are tight. Maybe you have the profile, and maybe you don't have concerns about where you're standing as far as credit wise. You're just trying to find ways to save money.
Yeah.
And certain programs that we have is I know we have the USDA loan, and if they are staying outside of the city limits, that is a way that we can help save costs as
Sure.
far as upfront money when it comes to down payment.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about down payment for a second. One of the things I find out as I'm talking to people, just the intro calls, like especially people who's renting, that they have to have 20% down.
Mm.
That is like a constant thing. So if you can speak to that a little bit and how maybe some programs are made so they don't, that
Yeah.
would help out.
Well, I think that's a big stigma that has been something that's been in the industry for a long time. People think 20%, I need to do that, so I'm gonna need to save. Golly, 20% on some homes is a lot of money.
It's a
That's
lot
a
of
lot
money.
of money. And so it could take years
Hmm.
to save that. And that's years of you missing out on equity. That's years of you missing out on appreciation. So the minimum down payment for first-time home buyers is 3%.
Okay.
If you're a non-first-time home buyer, it's 5%.
Okay.
But there are down payment assistance routes that can help you get there. You mentioned USDA.
Uh-huh.
USDA loans are great,
Okay.
but they do come with their own rules,
Gotcha.
right? There's income eligibility, and then
Okay.
there's location eligibility.
Mhm.
And let's say you make too much money
Uh-oh.
and you don't qualify for USDA.
Uh-huh.
Well, we do have a route, conventional 0% down, just like a USDA loan. So even if you don't qualify for USDA,
Mhm.
we got a program for you. Basically, programs are endless.
Yeah.
So that's another reason to get on a consult.
And so we jump into all these things on a discovery call because one of the things I don't like doing is giving up people a lot of information without knowing how that applies to them specifically. Because with let's just be honest, being online, you can be overwhelmed with a lot of information, and especially with things are going on in the industry today when it comes to like maybe you have to now get education to figure out how to buy or sell a home yourself to maybe save costs. But what if you can understand the options that are for you and how you don't have to come out of pocket as much? And even if you have to come out of pocket, how can we minimize that cost so that you can make sure you're making a good selection for you and your family and finding a good home for you? So let's jump into the credit challenge that most people have.
Yeah.
Now, this is, I'm not gonna lie, I've heard people paying astronomical costs
Mm,
and things are not getting done.
yeah.
And just even it goes to a fact that people don't even know who to trust.
Yeah.
And the thing that I've noticed the most is now we have enrolled people into uh, programs
Yes.
that we have vetted. We've known people have made it out of this program and
Mm-hmm.
actually purchased a home.
Yes.
And we have some of our clients that we enrolled into that. So if you can just speak to some of the myths that people have when it comes to building their credit up and helping them get it to a point where it needs to be, and does the credit have to be 800 credit score in
Uh,
order to be able to buy something? Or did it have to be a 700?
yeah.
Did it have to be like, if you can talk about that, because I believe it's a lot of different myths that people have
Yeah.
that I think you as a mortgage loan officer can clear up.
I love that. So number one, most people think, hey, I need to have a 700 credit score or a 780, or I need to have a really killer credit score in order to get into a home. And the thing is that credit score that you think you have, it may not be as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of individuals I come into, they're like, I got bad credit. I'm like, hold up, define bad credit. And sometimes they're like, "Oh, well, I got a 620," and because they're around other individuals that have a 780, so they define themselves as bad credit. I can't buy a home. But the thing is we can go all the way down to 580. So even if we are 620, 600, 581, we can still do a deal. Now, the thing that I do is I don't mind getting you into home at 580. But if we have time to game plan, then why not? Let's say we have 4 months,
Right.
6 months.
Right.
We're at a 584.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we take that 4 months to 6 months to work on our credit? In that time, we might get you to a 624. That right there, over the course of years, thousands of dollars. So my main goal, our main goal, is educating to say, okay, you can get into a home now.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
We can get you in. But we have some time. So let's use it to our advantage and let's get you a better credit score, save you hundreds of dollars a month, which equates to $1,000 over the course of the years. So that's kind of what we aim to do. And let's say, for example, we're at a 560.
Mhm.
Yes, we can't do a home loan right now.
Right.
And that's okay. That's all right.
Mhm.
But we're going to build a game plan to get you to the doors of 580 or better.
Right.
Depends on our time frame.
Mhm.
If we need to spend 4 months, get you in at 580, then our next goal, get you into the home, keep you doing credit repair.
Mhm.
That way, in a year, in 2 years, when and if rates drop
Mhm.
and you want to refinance, you've got a better credit score. It's a better profile for you, all in all. So that's kind of what we would aim to do with all of our clients. And I do want to speak on one great success story.
Go for it. Yeah.
I had an individual, he came to me, he had a 589.
Okay.
I could do the deal. That
Yep.
was fine. But we had a 5 month time frame between now and when his lease ended. So I said, okay, we don't have to break our lease. It's fine. Let's use that 5 months and let's get you up. We got him up to a 624. Me and the credit companies that we work with, we got him to a 624. That difference, $150 a month, which $150 a month may not be like a groundbreaking a lot of money,
Right.
but over the course of a year, that's over $1,500 saved in your pocket because we took the time to go through the steps and advise and get you in a better situation than you were starting. So that's kind of what we do with trouble cases is we really, really try to help them out.
So, and that's just one. I mean, I believe we had an individual who we worked with over a year,
Yeah.
and just a couple months ago they closed, and I think they're one of our biggest fans.
Oh, yes,
Yes,
I
yes,
know
yes,
exactly the family you're talking
yes.
about. Yeah.
And so, whether it's 5 months, whether it's a year, um, we want to help. We want to assist. The main thing for me and my team, what I always say is that we want to make sure we get our intro call done with you. We below, I have a free video of just the first time home buyer process. Even if you're relocating, if you're first time buying just in Texas, regardless of what you're, I think it's still helpful because what I do is go in great depth. We have a map that shows you from point A to point B to be able to buy a home, and then you can be able to see where you fall, where you need to have a discovery call with Jordan, and then from there, how I can be able to help you and assist you get to the end goal, which is purchasing a home. So that is the whole reason that I wanted to take the time out to do this video because people have come to us and asked us so many questions, and we even know what questions that people will have before they even open their mouth. But we ask questions because we want to make sure that number one in our intro call that this is going to be a good fit for you, and then number two, as we do our discovery call, mapping out that game plan. So that is our process, and ultimately to help you be able to build the wealth. One of the things that I've realized when it comes to people um, having the wrong information, you get stuck. You get an analysis paralysis. And here's what happened. Time move on. You keep paying where you're staying. You're paying rent or you're not moving because you're waiting for the perfect condition. The only perfect condition is going to be when you decide in your mind to get the proper assistance and the proper help so that you can know when to act. And you can't do that alone. We have to learn a lot of ways individually, learning from others to get to where we're at right now. And so now our job is to help you and get you in a situation so that you can be able to start building wealth for your family, starting with your home. Obviously, if you're an investor, you've spoken with me before, we can have more conversation. If you decide that maybe this first house that you buy with one of these programs, that at some point you want to use that investment and get something else. Well, in our intro call, let's talk about that and then we can be able to go in more depth. So, Jordan, I appreciate you for
Thank you.
taking our time
Thank you.
going to this. And of course, if you want to book a meeting with me and Jordan, make sure you use the link below to find a time as first to have an intro call with me. And then from there, we'll go into it's a link also down there that's like an application for me and Jordan if you just want to go straight into it so we can have a discovery call, whatever works best for you. But as always, thank you for tuning in and living and investing in Bryan-College Station. And we look forward to seeing you on the other side. All right.
Thank you, guys.